looked at our vocabulary words here. Which one is it? It is photosynthesis. So photosynthesis starts, we're going to draw some pictures in our notes today because pictures always help us understand something. So I'd like you to start with the sun. And the formula or the recipe for photosynthesis and how plants get their food starts with the sun. And the sun provides energy. And so I'm going to write the word energy. I'm sorry, Lily. Did you like that other seat over there? Okay, I think I might, when I rearrange, I'll make sure that you're not right here anymore. All right, so we have the sun and energy. And then our recipe is going to be that it also needs, what comes out of these things when it's rainy? Water. And so if these were clouds, and these are raindrops, we know the first thing in our recipe besides sun is going to be water. Photosynthesis needs energy from the sun, and then that energy goes towards the plant. We know that water will also go to the plant. And so down here, I'm going to draw a couple of plants. Those are leaves. So I'm not going to focus on the flowers and the reproduction part of the flower like we did yesterday in our previous lessons. I want to focus on the parts of the plant itself and what they are doing, what their function is, what is their job. When I say the word function, it's kind of like what's their job. So the recipe for photosynthesis is that plants begin as a tiny seed. And they do what when they grow? What do they do when they grow? What's the vocabulary word that we've been learning that talks about when plants grow? Germinate. Germinate, very good. And so the plant is going to germinate from a seed. Some plants germinate from a seed, some from a spore. But once they germinate, they form roots. And the roots are going to take up water from their tube-like structure in a vascular plant. It's going to take the water here, and it goes up to the leaves. In the leaves, they have something called a stoma, or a stomata is another name for it, which are holes, and they're like your nostril. They breathe. They breathe in oxygen and carbon dioxide, and they breathe out. They breathe in carbon dioxide, they breathe out oxygen. And so that's why plants are so amazing for people, because they provide us with oxygen. So plants, trees, if there's a lot of trees around, people can breathe well. So they have a lot of oxygen. So our first part of our formula is water, sunlight, and then they have to have carbon dioxide. And the chemical symbol for carbon dioxide, beautiful, is CO2. It is one element of carbon and two elements of oxygen that make a carbon dioxide. Remember when I said binomial nomenclature, when we were talking about how things were classified and how they had two names, naming system, and the word bi means two, like a bicycle. So when we hear the prefix bi, it means two. Guess what? This also means two. Di, D-I here, dioxide means two elements of oxygen. So that's why we call it carbon dioxide, and that's why that's that little two there. So they breathe in carbon dioxide through the stomas, and they breathe out what? The opposite of us. What do they breathe out, Leah? Oxygen, excellent. So they breathe in carbon dioxide, they breathe out oxygen, and what do they have that's inside? I'm going to get a different color marker. What do they have that's inside these leaves that allows them to make sugar or to make their own food? When we're hungry, we're consumers. We have to consume our food. Plants are producers. They produce their own food. So what is it about them in that green part that makes them produce their own food?
The chloroplast.
Chloroplast is the part of the cell that is full of chloroplasts, and what does that cell make? Chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is the chemical that allows them to make their own food. It allows the sun to give that plant energy, and they're inside that cell making their own food. So this is a recipe. And if I wrote it as a recipe, it would look like this. 1 sun. Oops. 1 water. 1 CO2. These are the things that work together. Oops, don't forget my chlorophyll. I drew myself a little picture here. And if I added those up like it was a math equation, my results would be oxygen and sugar. And not the physical sugar that we put on a teaspoon and we put in our food or we taste, but sugar meaning energy for that plant. Isn't that cool? Isn't photosynthesis amazing? Aren't you guys totally just the cool that photosynthesis is really neat? I think it's awesome. I like to look at plants. Uh-oh, this one looks a little dull. It's losing a couple of leaves here. I'm going to prune it while we look. Pruning it means you take off the dead leaves. That's amazing. It literally is doing all that. I just want to go and smell it and go, oh, I get oxygen from it. It's awesome. Photosynthesis is amazing. Yes?
What is it, all one?
All one. What did I misspell?
It is one. 1 sun, 1 water.
Oh, yes, you're absolutely right. So 1, 1, 1, 1, meaning it would be 4, right? 4 of those things. I just wanted you to know that if we added those all things together, that they would all make oxygen for us. And I want to put a big heart around this because you know why? We need oxygen. This is the part here that we really need as humans. That's why plants are so amazing. Yes?
I know that it's kind of weird, but if you talk to your plant, it's actually like breathing in your air because they take the opposite air from us.
You're right. So some people say that if you talk to your plants or you're singing to your plants that they grow better. But guess what? Tatum just made a huge revelation. When you talk to them, you're breathing out your carbon dioxide and they're going, I love it. Thank you. Because they like to breathe in carbon dioxide. That's awesome, Tatum. That was such a good connection that you made. All right, so did everybody get a cool picture in their books today? If you had to explain photosynthesis to a younger brother or sister or your parents or a friend, could you do it?
Yes.
Couldn't?
Not exactly.
Okay, if you can't, then what I want you to do is I want you to rewatch the video that we watched from Study Jams. I want you to learn the song, and I also want you to look at this picture and follow your arrow. Energy from the sun goes into the plant. Water goes into the plant or is absorbed through the roots. Carbon dioxide is breathed in from the plant, and then that plant spits out oxygen. It breathes out oxygen from its stoma, which are holes in its leaves, and they give us oxygen. they make, like a little factory inside, they make food for itself. It's called a what? We're a consumer, a plant's called a producer. They're producers, we're consumers. We consume our food. They make their own food. All right, good job.